Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
We got a soup terrorist. Rainer's blowing a canister, and we're the most wanted in the country. But don't you worry. Daddy's home.
And that intro can mean only one thing. The Stuff and Things podcast is back and we're talking about The Boys Season 4. I am Sam. Joining me to discuss the first 3 episodes, it's Stefan.
Hey, buddy. I'm glad that intro beeps so that we get a chance to say, children, this is R-rated show. If you have sensitive ears, leave now.
No, I've said this before and I'm going to stand by it. If you watch The Boys and therefore listen to a podcast discussing that show and you're offended if me and you swear, fuck off.
My main concern is that people are listening to us on a streaming service and they've just listened to the end of the Star Wars podcast and the next thing they hear is, oi, you go, like, whoa,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
It makes you chuckle thinking about that.
Yeah, that's valid. Okay, yeah, so if you're here by mistake, I apologise. But this is a podcast talking about The Boys Season 4, the opening 3 episodes, and like I said, if you're a fan of that show, you really shouldn't be offended by anything me or thee say, ever.
That is fair. After what I find like our podcast has actually become more of like a therapy counselling session now.
Yeah.
Just to get over the things that I have seen in that show.
Just to
because my
process it.
gosh, I have seen some things already.
And that's just
it's been out for less than 24 hours, and I've seen some things.
And that's just a Will Ferrell cameo that got you. Okay, so we are talking The Boys Season 4, episodes 1, 2, and 3. Due to the sheer amount that we've got to walk through with these episodes, we're going to dive straight in. But first of all, as per tradition, the title of episode 1 was...
Department of Dirty Tricks.
And episode 2...
Life Among the Septics? No, the Skeptics.
No, it should be Septics.
It is Septics, you're right.
You were right.
I was right the first time.
Yeah. It's a play on words. You're letting the side down. Absolutely letting the side down. And episode 3...
We'll keep the red flag flying.
Here. God, you're doing awful. What is this? This is amateur hour. You got the title wrong.
Number 3. We'll keep the red flag flying.
Flying here is the title of the episode because that's the saying. That's the expression.
Oh, he doesn't say here on my little thing that I looked up. It just says we'll keep the red flag flying.
Well,
IMDb, you have let me down again.
No. You can't blame because Life Among the Septics. That was right. No. I'm appalled. This is a terrible start. This is an awful start.
And gone, why have I written that down? That's not right.
Yeah. Right, so I've got a plan. Yeah, I've got a plan for this podcast. The plan is we've watched the 3 episodes. There is no sense at all in us walking through episode 1, 2, and 3 in the sense of piecing it together. So we will do this episodically from this point on, where it's 1 episode per week, and we will break down the episode a little bit, go talk through the scenes. What I'm going to do is we are going to go through episode 1, 2, then 3, but I've literally written bullet points as kind of like, these are the scenes I think is worth kind of picking out and sort of having a chat about and going over a few things. So it is going to be a walkthrough. It is going to be sort of like a broad brush strokes. That's purely because, we want to try and keep the podcast under an hour. Otherwise, this would be a 3-hour show because there is enough that happens in these episodes that really it should be 1 show per episode. But the lovely way that Amazon get us locked in is by dropping 3 to start. And
I understand that for new shows, but by the time you're into season 4, we would accept a show a week,
Yeah.
Or all the shows at once. Do one or the other. One or the other.
I couldn't. I think all of the boys at once is too much of the boys.
I know. Can you imagine they do that? People just sitting there rocking.
So, how up to date were you in your mind? So, with the little recap at the beginning of episode 1, how happy were you to get that recap? Because you'd kind of like, oh yeah, I've forgotten that.
Quite a lot. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that it kind of showed. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had been a year.
We had Gen V in the middle of it as well.
Yeah.
So my brain was just taking Gen V as the last thing we saw. So therefore, right, follow on from that. So then getting the recap, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was very helpful. So the boys are trying to kill Newman. This is where we start. But the key thing is that there is a presidential race, and Newman is the VP candidate, the vice president of the USA. And it would appear that the opening is election night, and the results are coming in, and they are winning, which means that we are going to have President-elect and Newman, the head pop in soup, as the vice president of the USA. A very, very terrifying prospect. They try to get to Newman, and in typical The Boys fashion, all hell breaks loose.
In the most unexpected, gruesome, amazing way.
What we pick up on early is that MM is now running the show, and he's got a plan in place. Everything's like going like clockwork. Where's Butcher? Butcher is throwing up, refuses to wear the uniform, literally walks up to the guards, and his opening line is like, "Evening, cunts." And it's like, oh, we're back. We are back in.
We're here to commit high treason. And you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah, but they're on the take, so it's fine. So straight away, we're locked back in. All of them are like involved in this plan. They're all kind of moving seamlessly. We come across Newman's daughter, who walks into the hotel room whilst they're trying to plant bugs and things on Newman. And they're trying to...
they're putting acid in her eye drops.
I was about to say they have developed a way they think they can kill her with this form of acid, and they're swapping out her eye drops for this acid, hoping obviously that she's going to burn out her eyes and kill herself with it. The daughter, as we know, in the last season, was very unwell and was given Compound V, and is now obviously a soup. Her ability is interesting, where basically her mouth turns into some sort of
weird tentacle things
and rips people limb from limb.
Like, I've played like horror video games with that sort of thing on, and it's just as creepy in those. Like, she rips the arm off and he just spits it out, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was...
That's an interesting suit power.
It's like I said, I mean, we're into the boys. Butcher's started walking around calling people cunts. You've got the team trying to operate around, and then you've got all hell breaking loose with a soup literally eating and destroying people, including taking Kimiko's arm off. Yeah. As she tries to defend Frenchie. They jump out. Starlight manages to grab Frenchie, but because of the baby arm growing back on Kimiko, misses her, and she splats into the pavement. And then has part of her face flapping off in the breeze, and they're all like,
kind of holds it back onto again. I like how her healing has definitely upgraded a bit.
Yeah,
that's a lot quicker now.
Yeah, bless her. I mean, it's so messed up.
Let me just hold my face in place so we can heal. One moment.
Just so messed up, wasn't it? Just awful.
Love it.
Newman has worked out what's going on and goes out to find a van and finds Huey. And we have this kind of... Huey is charming, like little, I don't know, like a little puppy, I guess. And he's talking to her, and I'm kind of watching it like he's like reminding her that they were friends and all this stuff, and she's like,
It's
"Oh,
quite a
look."
nice heart-to-heart chat, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, look, the only way this is going to work really is if we have a truce." And Huey then throws acid in her face, and I was just like, "What the fuck, Huey?" And it has no effect. She's just like,
it burns a hole in her
she's
shirt.
so mad that it's like ruined her blazer. Like she's just like, "Oh, Huey, I gotta get changed now." Now we know she has literally the ability to pop someone's head. We've seen her do it so many times. So gross. And Huey has this kind of information on her as like a kind of safety net. Like, you do this, that gets released. And but when he tried to kill her with acid, I'm kind of like, Huey, you're in trouble here.
Yeah, it's like she's gonna pop,
and then Butcher walks up, Plan B, and shoots her point blank in the head, and she just
all that happens, it bounces into the van,
and she just kind of like takes a step, like, "Ow, what the hell?" She's like,
her line is amazing. Like, how are you getting worse at this?
Yeah. She literally like, "How are you guys getting worse at your job?" and walks off. I mean, it was so cold, so cutting, and so kind of. See, Homelander's a psychopath. Homelander in that moment wouldn't care. Like, "Oh, you're going to release it? Fine, I'll just rip you in half. I don't care." She is so not that, but seems to be almost as imperious and powerful. And her ability just to walk off in that instance, like, amateurs, is like, wow, that's so cold.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get changed now. You've tried to shoot me.
She was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna need to go get changed," and then she like walks back into that ballroom, like, "Yay, we've won. I'm now vice president elect of the United States of America," and I'm like, "Oh, this is not going well."
No.
So that's how we get back in. That's how we're locked back in. I'm now going to walk through various things. So we meet Kessler, aka Negan, and he has a conversation with Butcher. What are your first impressions of Kessler?
So, I mean, off script, the fact that Jeffrey Morgan is in this show, I'm so happy.
Yeah,
like he is like Negan is one of my like. Just one of those characters which has got so many good one-liners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they bring that sort of thing that he can do so well as an actor into this with the little one-liners, he's going to fit so well into this show.
Yeah.
And does.
Now, something that's kind of interesting, and it has a massive fandom out there, so I am going to speak to this, is there was a show called Supernatural, ran for a long time, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan played... main character in that initially and sort of coming in and out. The showrunner, the creator of The Boys, is the same guy who created Supernatural. Now, what is funny to me is I watched The Boys and then I binge watched Supernatural last year for the first time. It was something a friend of mine had mentioned, and it was like, "Oh, there's so many seasons. One day I'll watch it."
It's like 11 seasons or something crazy, isn't it?
15, mate.
Oh, blimey.
And so I watched it. I binge watched it. It was enjoyable. It was my kind of thing. It was tongue in cheek, a lot of it. It was good. So I enjoyed the show. But one of the things that's kind of interesting to me now is I've realised that the guy who's the showrunner has basically re-employed so many people that he had as actors for Supernatural in The Boys. Now, Supernatural was created for network television in the USA, the CW network, which means you got a lot of rules. Rules around language, what you can show, what you can do. With Amazon Prime Video, he had no rules. And so what we are seeing with The Boys is this guy with no filter, and we all know that. And one of the things that I think is hilarious is the actor who plays Soldier Boy was one of the main characters in Supernatural. And he did an interview where he said he feels that Kripke, the guy who's behind it, loves taking people he knows and gets on with and putting them in scenes just to mess with them. Like, how far can I push
What can
them?
I get them to say?
Yeah.
What can I make them do?
Yeah. What can I do? What can I do to push them and, like, to the point that they're going to come to me and be like, I can't do that. I've read the script, no way. With him and Soldier Boy, it was basically the granny fucking thing. Where he was just like, please, what are you doing to me? Now, there is a scene in episode 2, which we'll come on to, and I can tell you that the actor in that was one of the key characters in Supernatural. So once again, he's done it to see once again. And what is really funny to me is on Amazon, when you're watching this, if you watch via the app on your iPad, for example, if you touch the screen, you get little factoids for
the little
stuff.
X-ray thing it brings up. Yeah.
And on that scene in the sauna, it comes up the actor, and it says his name. Would like everyone to be aware that he's trained. He's a trained theatre actor. Anyway, going back, so we meet Kessler, which is kind of an interesting meeting. You like I said, anyone who's watched The Walking Dead will know him as Negan. From Supernatural, they know him as Daddy Winchester. For me and he's more Negan. And seeing his interacting with Butcher, they're very similar, gruff kind of voices. And so that was quite interesting to me. Now, whilst they are trying to kill Newman, by the way, sorry, I skipped over this. None of this is in order. I'm all over the place. I'm gimpling it. We have a scene with Butcher, Ryan, and Homelander. There's a line in it which literally made me laugh so hard. I genuinely thought I was hurting. I had to pause. What did you think about the scene?
I was intrigued by it because I forget all of Homelander's powers. Like, Homelander has so many powers.
Yeah.
So when he walks in there and he goes, "Oh wow, what have you got? 6 months?" You're like, "Oh, we knew Butcher was ill, but damn, what a way to kind of that sort of as a way to tell the audience, you know, oh, his arch enemy's just turned around and gone, you're gonna die in 6 months."
Yeah.
I was like, gee, and then you can see like Ryan's face is kind of like Ryan doesn't seem to know if he's meant to hate Butcher or love Butcher.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know. And yeah, the whole scene was kind of like, wow. Like the dynamic between the three of them. Like, I am not a massive fan of the Ryan character.
No.
But even so, the dynamic between the three of them and the kind of that sort of a way to explain to us what is wrong with Butcher, I was like, damn.
Just out of interest, after these 3 episodes, do you still feel the same way? Dislike the Ryan character?
Slightly. Yeah, slightly.
Really? I felt these 3 episodes really started to flesh him out and give
I think they're going to. I think by the end of this season, I think we're all going to be kind of on Team Ryan a bit more. But for the moment, still, I'm still a bit like, I'm not quite sure on him.
Okay. Do you know the line that literally made me nearly die laughing?
No, go on. Which one?
So basically, Homelander walks in and says no means no. Now, when you think about that for a moment, the fact that Ryan is there because Homelander raped Butcher's wife, that is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that line right there is fucked up. But the bit that made me nearly die is no means no, this isn't the Neverland Ranch.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now, this season alone seems to have taken a lot more jibes at actual businesses and companies and people. Like, the last 3 series, I remember there's been a lot of little jokes to make you go, oh, they said that. In these 3 episodes alone, I must have gone about 5 or 6 times. Holy shit, are they allowed to say that? Well, like, the Neverland Ranch was number 1. That was the first one of, oh crap, they've actually said that.
Well, I mean, it's the no means no and the Neverland Ranch in that same sentence when it comes to a kid is like I was helpless. I was gone. I had tears
I was like,
in
they've
my eyes.
actually gone there.
Oh, there's no filter. There is nothing that, and what was once thinly veiled, I think they've ripped the veil off and they're literally going, look, this is what this is.
Yeah.
So again, walking through things, Huey's dad has a stroke,
Yes.
which means Huey's mum returns.
Yeah, that's a
That's
fun reunion.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Voltiology or whatever it's called. What's what she worked for?
Oh
Voltology or
yeah,
something.
Voltologist.
Skincare and everything else. I was like, oh my god.
What did you think to the Butcher going to screw over the team, but then changing his mind? And Butcher appears, well, he's talking to himself, and then we see that he's actually hallucinating about Becca. He's talking to Becca.
I did wonder because we see him talking to himself a few times, and I'm like, okay, I wonder if it is kind of her, and we know he's really ill, so is it kind of like the illness playing the tricks on him? And then we see it's Becca, but it's not like a happy couple reunion of the afterlife.
No.
She's proper on at him constantly.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, I think she's almost being his conscience because he's ready to screw over everyone. And she says to him, you're just going to screw over Huey again.
Yeah.
And it stops him. And then he sends, because he has that meeting with Newman, like, I'll help you take down Homelander and get Ryan away from him, but you have to do this for me. And he's all ready to do it, and then sends her a picture of his asshole.
Yeah, I've got Hugh's file on me here. Here it is. It's like she just goes, "Oh fucking hell!"
Yeah, he's so messed up. We meet Sister Sage. Sister Sage is the smartest person. You hear it constantly. Smartest woman.
Yeah.
I'm the smartest person. Now, as soups go, I mean, we know that all soups in this show are kind of based loosely on characters that you see in like DC, Marvel, etc.
Yes.
There is a character that I think is literally called the Brain in DC or something like that. And there's characters in Marvel that are the same because they rip each other off terribly. But her interaction with Homelander. See, to me, there's this one thing with that, is that if she is that smart, if she is the smartest person on the planet, what the hell is she doing even being around Homelander? Because if she is that smart, she must realise that guy is unhinged and just on a whim will kill her.
But it does seem like a lot of the soups are unhinged. It seems to be a bit of a running,
but he has... But like most soups seem to have the ability to fight each other, combat each other. Homelander is like a step above.
I think hers is kind of like she's smart enough to be able to manipulate Homelander enough. Like when we first meet her, and I'm like, oh, this is a bit of a smart person. I'm like, oh, what sort of this is going to be a bit naff. And then as we get to meet her and we see the stuff that she does and the things she comes up with, you're kind of like, oh, okay, she's quite an interesting character, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think naff. I was intrigued.
At first, I was proper naffed. I was like, oh, smart person. Okay, brilliant. You're just going to be the brains of the operation, literally.
Well, yeah,
right?
which is interesting.
And then, the more stuff she does, the more I'm like, oh, okay, so she's smart as in, the calculated and kind of very, very dark thoughts process of how to get things done. So here we go. We're going to take these 3 Homelander superfans. You're going to kill them, and then we're going to place them to then change everyone against these people. You're like,
so you've got
you're smart in that way.
What's her name? Starlighters, and then you've got the Homelanders. And Homelander's found innocent by the way of killing that guy, which is just mental, but is very, very on brand.
Oh my god, the conversation between Homelander and Newman about the whole "you killed that bloke," self-defense.
Yeah.
You're a soup. He's a human.
Yeah.
He threw something at Ryan, a plastic bottle, but it could have been anthrax.
Yeah, exactly. Which wouldn't have hurt me, but
it could have done nothing to us. But imagine what it would have done to the people.
Messed up beyond belief, really, and just just kind of, it was self-defense. Oh, and he was a paedophile. Like, no, he wasn't. So it was messed up, but all of that narrative, the kind of deep state, I mean, they're basically sending up QAnon which I love, and they are pointing at that and literally laughing at its faces. What do you, just one last point from this, what do you think of New Noir?
Oh my god, yeah, I'd forgotten about the whole Noir being swapped, sort of like dying and next one in.
Yeah.
But the fact this guy is constantly like, will you shut the fuck up? Noir does not talk. Yeah, I know that, but I'm just, shut up. I know, I'm just saying, do I stand over here or over there?
He like murders the guy with the baseball bat, and Homelander leaves, and he's like, that was fucked up. And I'm like, what? Noir's talking now?
Will you shut up?
Yeah. I mean, that was messed up.
It's fact he's constantly asking for direction, and I just feel like it's not really messing
it's like no one's giving me clear scenes on what I need to do.
Yeah, just stop fucking talking.
The start of episode 2 begins with a big Hollywood cameo, one of your favorite ever actors, and someone who I know the minute you saw him walk on screen, you'd have been thinking, yes, this show just got so much better. And that is a cameo from the legend that is Will Ferrell.
Won't lie, do you know what I actually did?
Yeah, go on.
I paused the episode. I opened up IMDb. I typed in The Boys. I clicked on season 4. I went to episode 2, clicked on cast, and I was ready to check how many fucking episodes he was in. I was ready. I was looking. His name didn't even appear on the cast list, so I was like, oh, it is literally just this. Okay, back and play.
I genuinely don't get it. Like there are some actors that are like, I dislike or whatever, but I do not get your hatred for Will Ferrell at all.
Like I've seen Roadkill that's funnier than that bloke. Like he just does not anything for me at all.
You know, me and you talk about a lot of TV shows, a lot of films, and we got very, very similar tastes. But when you describe Will Ferrell as Roadkill's funnier, and then tell me that you're loving Grey's Anatomy, I just feel like you're
Wait,
a very different person.
I'll get Kaylee. It's 2-on-1 on that. So it's fine.
Mate, if you want to double team Kaylee anytime, sorry, that's not what.
Not what I meant. No,
that's fine. Yeah, screw it. I'll say what I like. No one's listening. It's fine.
It's the Boys podcast. We can get away with anything.
I can get away with anything. Yeah. So we get a Will Ferrell cameo, which is just kind of funny because it's literally him being himself, an actor, this director, and A-Train. It's like the typical white guy saving the black guy, and fair play, A-Train's like calling it out. And again, this is the boys holding a mirror up to this dumb shit, which happens on such a regular basis. Now, I'm going to walk through bullet points from this point on and just get your reaction to the scenes, okay?
Okay, yep.
Ryan filming saves, and then the scene, and then him actually doing it and it going very badly wrong. What did you think about all that?
Face palm and oopsie. Like, he's like, go on, throw me, I can take it. I do this all the time. So Ryan does, and then kills him in the building. And it's like, oh, gross. So gross. So, I like that whole Homelander having to show up. We're in this together, son, me and you. And it's like,
he can't share.
This episode, for me, about episode 2 mainly with Homelander.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy is having some issues. That's like midlife crisis.
He cannot share the limelight.
No, and he's plucking his own pubes because they're turning white. Like, he is really not aging gracefully.
No, he's having some issues. His kind of wanting to be a dad to Ryan and make Ryan like his sidekick almost. But then
Homelander and Homeboy.
Yeah, and then he's kind of like realizing, no, you're being replaced, and he can't take it. And he's like, Ryan's supposed to be doing the save. No, he got to be there as well. And Ryan throws this guy and literally wrecks him in a building. And for me, what was kind of interesting is we know Ryan has basically got Homelander's powers, but he's still a boy. And
he has no way of controlling them yet.
Yeah, and when he did that, it was kind of like a reminder. Even now, he could actually probably take on Homelander. Like now, he could take him on. If you think about like the strength, everything he's got, he's like, no wonder why Homelander wants to keep him close.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
That's quite kind of crazy.
And you get the two different sides of it, like Homelanders, whatever.
Yeah.
Humans are toys for my amusement, I think he keeps saying.
Yeah, no, it's
toys for my amusement. And he's like, and Ryan's very much a case of, but I didn't mean to kill him. I've just killed someone. Like,
yeah, I mean, I wrote this down because the two of them have an interaction later on, where Ryan's clearly very upset that he killed the guy, and Homelander says humans are toys. Stop, don't care about them. They're nothing to us. What did you think of? So we've got this character, this poor woman, who's running Vault, or so Ashley. And,
Ashley, yeah.
And she constantly obviously Homelander is just terrifying, and they all kind of jumped literally. There's that moment where he tells him to go deep to go blow A Train, and he's gonna do it, and it's like, oh my God, this is so fucked up. This is so messed up.
Imagine, I was going to do it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah. Now Ashley is in this terrible position, but she talks shit to Deep all the time because Deep's a moron, basically.
Yeah.
But Sister Sage gets in Deep's head, no, don't let her talk to you like that. You're a superior being. Act like it. And he lays into her and terrifies her, and I'm just like, Jesus. It's like she cannot escape at all. She is just terrified of being in this place. We even see at one point she's going to resign, and then backs out of it, terrified that they'll just kill her if she does.
Yeah. Well, she has had a very nice offer from a certain company that I can't believe they actually named.
Oh, yeah, they don't fuck around in this show. Ashley says Disney have been trying to recruit me for ages.
Because I'm a boss babe or something. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, they've actually said the name as well.
Yeah, no, I get, this show has been renewed for a season 5 and done. And I get the impression they've literally just gone, we were wearing gloves before. Were you? Yeah, we've taken them off.
Oh my God, you were wearing gloves?
But the thing that makes me laugh is I know that they show these episodes and that to the people at Amazon. And the people at Amazon must sit back and just be like, go for it, you mad bastards.
Yeah, that's funny. Fucking do it again.
Yeah, I'd rather have you inside pissing out than outside pissing in. Let's go that way.
Well,
They even name drop, what's his name? Friggin' owns Twitter now, Elon Musk. And lay into him, which is funny. But anyway, so in this
that's
episode,
another one of those name drops I mentioned earlier. That was another one where I was like, oh my God, they're going all out. And the last one was the whole Tom Hanks and count the minutes and the number of films and put it all together. And I'm like, no.
But that's a real thing. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
So they go to TruthCon, which is literally sending up a real thing, QAnon, which happens, these events in America.
Yeah.
And that theory, that all paedophile ring, Tom Hanks is leading it, is a real thing that people believe. Hundreds of thousands of Americans believe that's true. And all of that stuff, because I checked this, was literally taken from a QAnon website. So that character, this isn't scripted. They are literally just verbatim saying what exists, really, but just adapting it to the Boys universe.
Fucking mental, isn't it?
It is. Like you said about how this show appears to be, in the past, insinuating, oh, isn't this similar to that? Oh, like holding a mirror. This time they are straight up shouting in our faces. And what's funny is there's a lot of fans of The Boys from seasons 1, 2, and 3 are now suddenly describing this series as woke. And the showrunner, Kripke's response was, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I don't care. It's that's fine. If you watch this show and you're like, oh, I don't like this, then turn it off. Go watch something else.
Yeah.
And if you've watched seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then suddenly season 4 you think's woke, I'm sorry, you're not on the planet.
You have not watched the first 3 episodes.
No, you have not watched the first 3 seasons of this show at all. In TruthCon, Kimiko's having issues. She's seen like this child trafficking thing. It starts triggering like how she was treated, and she
I feel like
decides.
the 2, 3, 4, maybe 8 beers.
Yeah. And then so she decides basically to get pissed. To try and deal with it. Unfortunately for Kimiko, she spent most of her informative time now since escaping that around Frenchie. And Frenchie's way of dealing with any sort of trauma is drugs and alcohol. So I feel that Kimiko in this moment's just channeling like, this is how you deal with this.
I don't feel great. I'll drink.
Yeah, I'm having a bad day. I'm gonna get sauced. At TruthCon, we meet Firecracker, who has a serious issue with Starlight and is just leading these conspiracy nuts. And she has a guy with her who is a soup, and his ability is he can create basically like duplicates of himself, like clones. He literally like splits himself in half.
Yeah, I think it was when they're setting the stage up.
Yeah.
And I think it was the third one of him that I saw that I suddenly went, hold up.
Yeah. It was...
the first two, just straight over my head. The third one came on, and I was like,
do you know what? I'm actually going to say the same thing. It was kind of going over my head, and then I saw like there was this moment where Sister Sage has a chat with the Prime, the main one. And then they go off, and it's like, Frenchie, tail them, find out what's going on. And so Frenchie's like, okay. So Frenchie and Kimiko follow this guy to a sauna.
No.
I'm now going to hand this over to you.
No, I don't want it.
Because,
I don't want it.
I mean, my bullet point simply says, sauna scene, Steph, discuss.
No, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about
it. So there's a scene here.
God.
Steph, we have a devoted fan base who are very keen to hear you describe in detail what you saw in this scene.
I believe in WhatsApp messages to you, I said episode 2 starts off wow, and then about 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, I text you going, nope, it's gone full fucking hell. That was my.
But why, mate? Why? What happens? What?
So they hear some weird noises from the sauna, and they decide to go and work out what it is.
Yeah.
They've already found his phone, so they know about some meeting later on.
Yeah.
They open the sauna door to what can only be described as the human centipede turned sexual. Yeah. The guy is, I'm guessing it's Prime. The Prime guy is at the front of the train.
Yeah.
Knocking one out over a poster.
Yeah.
And all of his clones are in very close proximity behind him.
They are eating
one
ass.
After the other.
They are eating ass and have got ass juice all over their faces.
Oh, no.
And they get pink eye.
The pink eye was fucking hilarious. He's like, pink eye. No, don't even talk about allergies, hay fever. Obviously, no one knows about his weird little fetish.
So messed up.
Oh, mate, it was the juices around the... no.
So...
it made me feel sick.
We've got the boys...
It went from a disturbing scene to the close-up on his face of him talking with the... I can't talk about it.
So the finishes of MM and Butcher.
Can you not say finish off after that scene?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because Frenchie interrupted, I don't think the guy did get the finish. I mean, when you've had your ass eaten out like that and everyone's eating ass, to not be allowed to finish seems cruel. Yeah, poor guy. I mean, that's blue ball. Do you think that's why he was so angry then when they had a fight?
That's what he was so angry about.
So MM and Butcher have a scene where MM is just fed up with Butcher. This has been something which has been a running thing ever since the show started, really. The MM,
since season 1, yeah.
MM and Butcher have this kind of a bond, a brotherly bond, but at the same time, they really see things very differently. And MM's kind of calling Butcher out again, like just telling him to go away. It's his team now. Like, get the fuck away from us. You're a liability. Then, I mean, my note says the boys versus naked men. This fight with this guy and all of his kind of clones, if you like, because
I mean, Jesus Christ, we could have named him Love Sausage. Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, he's decently endowed. So A Train, sorry, not A Train. What am I talking about? They are trying to, surveil Sister Sage, who walks them
Yeah.
into a trap, and Sister
Yeah.
Sage says to Firecracker and this group of clone minions, kill this lot for Homelander, and you're gonna be part of the Seven. Like, this is your audition. Get these guys killed. Sister Sage leaves, and all hell breaks loose. You're literally naked clones of this guy fighting Frenchie, Kimiko, MM. It is mental. They're like shooting them in the head, and they're dropping, and then more being produced.
Next one appears. Yeah.
It is insane, and they're starting to lose. And it looks like things are going to go bad. And Butcher shows back up.
Starts knocking skulls.
Butcher with a crowbar literally munching these guys is just a friggin' incredible scene. Just like absolutely.
Now, I want to know how the writers kind of went to the guy that was going to be playing the clones.
Yeah.
And was like, so we got a character in mind. You're only really going to be in it for one episode, but you're going to leave an impression. Let's put it that way.
This is what I mean. This is a guy, this actor played God in Supernatural.
Yeah.
This guy literally was one of the main characters. He played the Lord Almighty for Kripke in Supernatural. And then he's got him on this show, like, hey, come on this show, do a episode for me. I've got this idea, and this is what I want you to do. And I swear, it's just like, I am going to push these people that I know and love to breaking point. To see
Remember you played God? Well, now you're going to have butt juice on your face. How do you feel?
And you're going to look like you're loving it, by the way. Really get your tongue in there.
And then after that, you're going to run around naked, attacking people. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it's absolutely fucking insane. Butcher kicks the shit out of them, but then they sort of dive on Butcher, and Butcher shouts to MM to go get the boys out of there.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bundle you want to be at the bottom of.
MM doesn't. They stay. They take out the Prime One. When the Prime One dies, all the others sort of have a shocked moment and drop. And Firecracker runs the fuck away, which I don't really blame her. We have this scene between MM and Butcher back at like HQ, where Butcher says to him, "You're going to get everyone killed." It's like, I'm an asshole, but you're too nice. You should have grabbed Firecracker and beat the shit out of her to get the answers we need, but you didn't. No, Sister Sage, sorry, you didn't, because you wanted to do surveillance, and you let her walk your whole team into a trap, and by all rights you should all be dead now. And then me, with only months left to live, you should have left me. Like, I'm dead anyway. You should have gone. What did you think of that? Because Butcher to me is a complicated character, and it's one of the reasons I really like him, because he isn't a stereotypical good guy. He isn't even what I'd class as an anti-hero like you get from these things. He's an asshole. He is an absolute asshole, but his character depth and the reasons why, like the thing about his father, his upbringing, his loss of his brother, you can actually understand why he does the things he does. And every now and again, normally with Huey, but this time with MM, he has a moment and you look at it and you go, wow, yeah, he's right. In that moment, I completely agree with what he's saying, which is, MM, you're great, but you're leading this team now and you could have got everybody killed.
Yeah, you can't lead them like that. You have to be an arsehole.
Yeah. Like, you have to make harder decisions. You can't always go down the path of least resistance. Sometimes you've got to do the bad thing, because otherwise you're in trouble. Now, I completely got what he was saying, and I got it, and MM kind of looked a bit shocked. And MM's a good guy. I genuinely like him, but I think he was an asshole to Butcher here, because Butcher kind of reached out. Like, I've not got long left. I have to get Ryan away from him, and I can't do it by myself. And he says, too little, too late, and turns his back on him.
You're fired. Yeah, he fires him from the boys, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Not what I expected.
no, I didn't like that, to be honest with you. I like MM as a character. I think he's a good guy. I don't like the way. I mean, don't get me wrong, Butcher's an asshole, definitely. But if there was ever evidence of why they needed him in that moment when he showed up, it was it was right there. And yet, even though that's just happened, he's like more than willing just to walk away from him, which it was quite disappointing to me. Kimiko, we know, is in this kind of rage now where she's seeing a psychologist, and we kind of see a couple of scenes with that. The psychologist is like, oh, you've got selective mutism, probably from trauma in your past, and we're watching like no shit, yeah. Like,
how's it going for you?
Absolute
if it was going well, I wouldn't be here on the mobile phone.
Yeah, absolute no shit Sherlock.
Yeah.
She's got trauma. And she then comes across a cell of the group that held her in New York. And so she's like, oh, I'm going to go fucking kill him. Frenchie, you're coming with me. Now, Frenchie's just dropped some drugs. Now, Frenchie's going through his own thing. So, Frenchie, me and you discussed this briefly. Frenchie, you've always taken as being very bisexual, love the person you're with kind of guy.
Yes.
I always thought he was in love with Kimiko and different women, so I always thought he was straight. So I was a little bit surprised to see him go with a guy. You weren't, I was, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Now, what we then find out, which makes it messed up, is Frenchie, we know, before he was recruited by Butcher to be part of the boys, was a paid killer. And he earned good money because he would kill anyone. Kids, women, everyone. He would take out everyone.
I want to say he was very good at his job. I don't know if that's the right term.
No, he was. He was very good at his job, but he is messed up because of it. Like, he obviously was messed up, and now he self-medicates drugs, alcohol to try and deal with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to matter how much good he can do or people he saves now. He can't wipe out that, and he's got this trauma, and we see it manifest in him and Kimiko going off, and he's high as you like, and he's seeing all
the hallucinations.
And he's seeing all of these people, and Kimiko's ripping people's throats out, and he's seeing bubbles going there.
Rubber ducks.
Rubber ducks instead of limbs.
This scene had me howling with laughter.
Well, it reminded me of the Gen V thing with confetti.
Yes.
So it was very like that, but you see his trauma, and you see now the guy he is dating and sleeping with, I say dating, is nailing, is the only survivor of a family that he killed.
Yeah.
And he is now dating him, and so it's messing with his head big time.
It's the fact that he phones Sherry up and talks to Sherry.
Yeah.
Does he recognise you? No. Yeah. Well, okay. Sherry's kind of like, he doesn't recognise you, whatever. And Frenchie's like, no. He killed his family.
It's so messed up. So messed up.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Another little thing, just they add Firecracker and Sister Sage to the 7. Homelander says, there's still the 7th spot, but I'm keeping the seat warm for Ryan, my son. It's a really weird thing because Homelander keeps saying all that stuff, like, oh, it's my boy, he's going to be amazing, he's going to be the best. And I swear he has real issues when it comes to that happening. Firecracker's basically been added because she's like the anti-Starlight. She is like QAnon, conspiracy theorist, mummy to all of them. She spouts all this nonsense and everyone's just eating it up. So Sister Sage identified her as like, oh, no, we want to add her. Because she is like, she will rally people to go up against the Starlighters and this movement to stop soups. We also see in this that there is serious tension between President-elect Singer and his VP Newman.
He's the one hiring the CIA.
We know that Singer is trying to get her killed, because he learned after appointing her as VP that she's a soup. And he says a line which is like, "She is one heartbeat away from the presidency, and it's my fucking heartbeat." That's like,
Yes.
yep, again, yep. Okay.
You can understand why that would make him ever so slightly nervous.
Yeah. Again, just a little thing I want to touch on because I've written it in my notes and I don't want to forget. Ashley, CEO of Vault, when she's having a go at Deep, is talking about the fact he's still nailing an octopus.
Oh my God.
And he completely denies it.
It's
No,
gone.
it's gone. And then we see he's got the little tank in his bedroom. Ambrosius is the octopus. And did you see who is the voice of Ambrosius?
No.
The ancient one. Tara Taunton.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
Is the voice of Ambrosius. So the octopus that likes to have sex with a man and vice versa is voiced by an award-winning actress. And that,
amazing.
That just sums this show up, really.
Doesn't it just?
Yeah.
It's when he's too busy to clean her tank and she's getting all fed up with him because she's ignoring him.
Yeah.
He's ignoring her.
It's brilliant.
Mate.
It's so weird.
It's so messed up.
Kessler and Butcher are now working together to grab Ryan. They come up with a plan to basically drug him, throw him in the cell that they built to hold soups, so they could try and not unbrainwash him, is the way they put it. The way Kessler's talking, it sounds more like they want to brainwash him to take out Homelander. Butcher then gets Ryan to come over by talking to him via a video game, which is like Vault version of Mortal Kombat. And by the way, that game looked awesome. Please make it available.
I really want that to be released.
Yeah, make that available. Seriously, Amazon, the boys, there is money to be made. Just
me and you would be straight on that against each other.
Yeah, and it would be hilarious. Yeah,
it's the finishing move of the land.
So gross. Like, was it Lamplighter? He was playing that, and he shoved it right up the ass and through the
crimson. Yeah,
the Crimson Countess got dead again badly. So Butcher invites him over. Ryan flies over because, of course, Ryan's now quite proficient with that. And he gets talking to him, and Homelander changes his mind. He bins the drugged-laced cookies. I put too much sugar in them. I fucked them up, and they have a laugh together. Why do you think he changed his mind? What do you think? Because, again, this is this kind of thing with Butcher where overall 99% of the time he makes decisions that make me go, oh, Butcher, why? But in this instance he doesn't. He changes his mind. What do you think happens in that makes him almost like trust Ryan to make the right call?
I think it's when it was simple things like when they're playing the foosball.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, everyone there lets me win. It's no fun. Yeah. And he can see that Ryan just doesn't fit in at the tower. He doesn't like being at the tower.
Yeah.
And I think Butcher's kind of looking at that and he's going, he doesn't want to be there. Why? We don't need to drug and brainwash him. We need to leave him there so that he turns into hatred. And he'll do it for us.
I'm with you on that. And I also think the sheer amount of remorse he felt over killing the guy. And he says, like,
not a Homelander.
My dad says I shouldn't care. And the Butcher's like, oh, hang on, but you do care. That's, there's Becca in you, and he kind of, I think that's the moment, and then he's just kind of like, yeah, actually, I'm going to trust you I'm not going to try and grab you. A-Train, interesting story arc with A-Train in amongst all of this, where we see A-Train and his brother. A-Train's kind of showing off to his nephews, and his brother wheels up and just puts him in his place. Like, big time.
Yeah, A-Train's an interesting character because we've seen it. I mean, this is now the 4th season, and from the very beginning, we are introduced to A-Train as what an arsehole. He exploded that girl.
Yeah,
he's
his girlfriend.
Awful. He is awful person. He's awful. He killed someone, no remorse, terrible person.
Yeah.
And then from that moment on, you have just watched this bloke who just absolutely hates everything about what he is and what he does.
Yeah.
And even when he's trying to do the whole sponsorship stuff, you can still see he's hated it the whole time.
Yep.
He clearly hates Vault and Homelander.
Yep.
And it's like, I think he's a really, really interesting character.
Yeah.
Because he's just, let's say he started off as, that must be the bad guy, he destroyed the guy's girlfriend. Oh my God. To now, where he's doing everything he can to help them. And he saves Huey a couple of times now. And even in previous seasons, he's saved them at times by doing things.
Yeah.
And in this season, he seems to have finally gone, nah, this is fucked up. I ain't doing this anymore.
Well, again, I don't fully trust him. And that's probably because of the sheer weight of stuff that's gone on. But he does in this save the Starlighters by handing them over evidence that those people were killed before. He then, because that happens, Sister Sage is like trying to find out how that information got leaked, and we have this terrifying scene where this woman has spoke to Starlight because they were friends a few times. Basically gets told by Sister Sage, look, just tell us the truth, nothing's going to happen to you, it's fine. Homelander's like, yeah, like, no, I swear on my son's life, don't worry. So she goes, oh, okay. Yeah, she called me, boom, kills her straight away. Dead.
There you go, she testified. No,
yeah, and it's like...
Sage is like, do you not think the next words out of her mouth might have been useful?
No, leak plugged, done. So A-Train's kind of got away with that just because Homelander's a psychopath. But also A-Train saves Huey. Now, he saves him from Vault on Ice Carnage, is what I've written.
Oh, my God.
Would you like to just discuss a little bit about Vault on Ice?
Now, we have said multiple times that the advertising for this show is phenomenal. Like, you can actually go on Twitter, you can follow Vault.
Yeah, Vault.
And Vault and all that stuff is on there, and they do marketing campaigns, and it is run like it is a real life business account.
Yep.
And it is phenomenal. And they've done lots of bits and pieces with, like, they were doing the Dawn of the Seven, the film they were making. They released actual trailers of it and all this, and it was brilliant. Well, they've gone, if anything, they've managed to go one step further. So Vault on Ice is an obvious piss-take parody of the fact that every Christmas they do Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
And now they're doing Vault on Ice. And you can even get it sponsored by Vault Plus.
You can't say Merry Christmas anymore.
You can't say Merry Christmas anymore. It has to be Happy Holidays or Season's Greetings. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was like, wow. But even the fact that it was sponsored by Vault Plus and all this sort of thing, you're like, wow, they're not even like trying to hide this.
No.
And as I do, I always look up the descriptions because the descriptions for each episode is normally just amazing.
Yep.
And episode 3, the whole description is about Vault on Ice.
Yeah.
And it says at the bottom of the description, book your tickets at www.vaultonice.com.
Yep. So you went there.
I was like, surely not. Clicked it, went there. There is a whole website front page.
Yep.
Obviously, all the dates are sold out, disappointingly. So, if you got tickets, congratulations. I missed out.
Yeah.
There is a YouTube video trailer of the show. It is all there. It is fucking brilliant. I was so impressed. And then we get a scene where we actually get to see some of it on the show, and I'm like, this is great. And it just turns to absolute carnage.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It is absolute carnage. So Huey's trying to plant a bug. Homelander shows up a bit early. Huey's stuck in place. Sweat drips down on the Homelander. He smells that it's Huey and just starts laser eyeing, trying to kill him. Newman says, don't kill him because then I'll be outed. And Homelander's like, good.
About time,
Like,
fuck!
it is so messed up. It is so crazy. And he, MM
gets the genius idea of Huey is stuck in like the breaches at the top. And therefore, MM's like, oh, if I turn all the lights on, I can distract him, cover him, it's fine. Yeah. And in my head, I'm like, that's a great plan. Okay, So he whacks the full beams on just as Homelander is about to blast Huey into next week,
and he
which unfortunately means he turns his head and goes straight through Queen Maeve on ice.
Yeah, and then
which obviously causes carnage, which means throats are getting slit, fingers are getting chopped off.
It was so
stomachs are getting stamped on all his ice skates. There's just blood everywhere.
Was just, like I said, vault on ice carnage.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible scene.
It's just absolute chaos.
So I'm gonna pick out a few more scenes here. Just Huey learning the truth about his mum. What did you think about that?
Yeah, that was interesting scene. So they've had like arguments throughout, and then finds out that actually, I have power of attorney now, thanks, because we've been talking for the last couple of years, and you're like, oh shit. And then obviously that sends Huey goes fucking mental.
Yeah.
He goes to solicitors and all sorts, doesn't he? Like, he wants that power back. He doesn't trust his mum at all.
Yeah, I was referencing her telling him about having postpartum depression and basically being suicidal, and that's why she left.
Oh, I was getting to it. I was going to say, he kind of comes back, goes mad at her, and then they have that kind of the heart-to-heart chat. Huey is a decent kid, like he's a good guy, so I think he listens to that and he's kind of a bit more like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah. Do you believe her? Am I just horribly cynical?
No, I don't believe her, but I think I don't believe her because of the show she's on.
Yeah.
I think that plays a decent part into it.
Yeah, no, I think she's a soup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think when his dad wakes up, he's going to like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Sister Sage and the Deep getting it on, that was different.
Now, I got a question for you about this scene.
Yes.
So they're eating, and then that all starts, and the camera pans down.
Yeah.
To the object on the table.
Yeah. What is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
Why do I have a horrible feeling that he has just eaten the octopus without realizing?
That would be hilarious.
Like that, I saw that on the table and it looked like inky all over it. And I was just like, has she killed his octopus?
That would be
Has
hilarious.
She killed the octopus and deep fried it and then served it to him? Because I think he says it's called like a blooming onion or something, isn't he? I think he calls it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. Like that was where my brain went to. I saw that object on the table and I was like, oh my God.
I thought I was twisted. Man, yeah, that would be incredible. I'd love
He's
that.
eaten the octopus and then got it on with Sister Sage. Now that I didn't see that coming. The Sister Sage deep thing, I didn't see that.
No.
But yeah, it was the object on the table that just made me go, oh my God.
What did you think, again, Firecracker confronting Starlight? Starlight says, why do you hate me? And she's like, you don't remember me, do you?
And then she tells her in great detail.
Oh my God. What did you think to that? Because again, this for me, like, I love that it flips the script. Starlight's a goodie. Firecracker's a baddie. And then there's a reason.
Yeah, Starlight, what a bitch.
But she says it.
January,
she recognises it. She's like, yeah, I was awful. I was terrible. I was ultra competitive. It was messed up.
My mum kind of made me like that, yeah. But then she's like, I'm a different person now. She's like, no one ever changes.
No.
And you just see Annie's kind of like, ah. See, I think that line hits Annie on two different places.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Annie wants to be the good guy.
Yeah.
And she does not want to be Starlighter anymore. And all of a sudden,
yeah,
she's basically like, people don't change. And she's like, shit, I'm going to always be Starlight.
Yeah, and she's just had to kind of re-embrace that alter ego to try and help control the masses. And then she's confronted with, but people don't change. Yeah, I'm with you. I thought that scene hit hard and I thought it was good.
Yeah.
The final thing for me is Homelander Ryan returns from spending time with Butcher. Homelander's like, I can smell him on you. And Homelander's terrifying. Like, but what is really interesting to me, and I don't know what you think about this, everybody who's around Homelander, has that kind of terrified fear of what he's going to do. It's like, oh my God, this guy could kill me in a second. Ryan doesn't have that. Ryan is behaving like a child would with their dad, like acting out, annoyed, whatever. Do you think that that's because Ryan is naive, or do you think it's because he knows you actually can't hurt me? Unlike everybody else who's afraid of you, I'm as powerful as you.
I took it down to that was like such a typical, like, me and my stepdad have had that sort of argument before. Like, I've disobeyed what he said. I've gone out, done something stupid, come back and had the whole, why? Why did you disobey me? What have I done to you that make... And I'm like, yeah, that's so a kid thing, like just acting out like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You told me to come back. You told me to come home when the light switches, like, street lamps came on. I came back late, whatever, I don't care. Yeah. Typical kind of rebellious kind of child.
Yeah.
But for me, it had a different side. Like Homelander, we've seen before, like this whole Homelander has to be loved.
Yeah.
And he has his reflections in the mirror. You must be loved. You can't stand not being loved. And in this scene with Ryan, the whole kind of like, why am I not good enough for you and all this, it's like, it's almost like someone talking to their partner that's been cheating on them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like, wow, it's seriously like he just craves, like, he has to be the soul.
And then we have John. Yeah, and then he goes and looks in the mirror, and where the mirror's cracked, you've got all these different versions of his personality. And go back to the start, John. And that's when the episode ends. That's when the first three. What do you think that means? Go back to the start.
I'm worried.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'm so worried. Like Homelander. So in this season, I think we are seeing, like, those first 3 episodes, we've seen a different side to Homelander. Homelander,
almost like a little bit vulnerable, or like he's feeling it for the first time.
And that for me makes him even scarier.
Oh, 100%. I am
he's
totally
gone
with
from
you.
Being like psychopath killer, doesn't care about anything, to now collecting the white pubes, overhearing them talking about how much budget got wasted getting rid of the creases in his face.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you've got a guy that's like, shit, I'm getting old. I'm getting replaced.
Yeah.
Sister Sage says to him, you got an inflamed prostate. And he's like, what? He's like, you're still age. You can be as powerful as you like. You're still going to age. Like, we know other soups that we've seen have not aged at all for years and hundreds of years or whatever, fine.
Yeah, but no, he is.
He is aging, and therefore he's suddenly realised, shit, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to die, and it's not even going to be a fact of Butcher's going to kill me.
No.
I'm going to die just through old age. I'm vulnerable.
Yeah,
vulnerable. And that has suddenly now, I think that's going to just send him so far over the edge into the other side. I'm like, you've actually now become a different character, but you've managed to become scarier.
I think you hit the nail on the head with he suddenly feels vulnerable for the first time. Yeah. No, it's brilliant, mate. Great observation. I like that a lot.
I have a theory that we are going to see both Butcher and Homelander die. And I think they're going to die together.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be season 4 or season 5. I'm assuming it'll be the end of season 5.
Yeah.
But I think they die together. So something's going to happen, and they die together. We've got 2 characters, one that's aging and feeling vulnerable, and one that's literally being told you've got about 6 months to live. And I just feel like something's going to happen. Those 2 have been connected the whole way through. It's been Butcher trying to kill Homelander.
You feel like we're going to have
something's going to happen.
You feel like we're going to have like a Hound versus the Mountain kill each other to end it all?
That sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Or Huey's going to kill Homelander and Butcher's going to be fucking fuming that it was taken away from him.
Huey killing Homelander would be worth seeing. Mate, that is all my notes. Is there anything else from those 3 episodes you wanted to bring up, talk about?
About a £400 counselling therapy session, but apart from that, no, we're all good.
No, we're all good. So I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for listening. We do this show and we love the interaction we get, and so do keep it coming. Let us know your thoughts on the opening 3 episodes of season 4 of The Boys. Like I mentioned earlier, it has been renewed for a 5th and final season. So this is now on the slope. The spin-off is planning to continue Gen V, but at the moment, following the really unfortunate death of one of the lead actors, they're rewriting, and there's not a release date for that anymore, which is understandable.
Yeah.
We will be back next week to discuss more of The Boys. If you are also watching Star Wars The Acolyte, we are back next week to discuss episode 4 of that show. So that'll be episode 4 of The Acolyte and episode 4 of The Boys, because of the way it's been released. So that works out quite nicely.
Quite well. Yeah.
But also next week, we are returning to Westeros as House of the Dragon Season 2 begins, and we will be discussing that as well. So there will be 3 shows from us next week, and for many weeks to come.
Yeah.
It will take us up to the point that we're going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine and various other shows kicking off. The Umbrella Academy Season 4. It's going to be crazy. So
this summer is crazy for great television and movies.
So if you watch all the same stuff we do and you listen to us for all of this, you're going to get bored of our voices. But thank you so much for sticking with us. If you want to get in touch and let us know what your thoughts on any of the things we're watching and talking about, you can email sam@stuffandthangspodcast.com. You can message via any of the social medias. Until next week, everybody, you all take care.
See you later.
I can get you out of here.
What are you talking about?
I know you're angry with me, and you've got every right to be. But you know how dangerous Homelander is.
He's my dad.
Right, he murdered some poor sod right in front of your eyes.
That guy was a pedophile.
Right, it ain't true. He's lying to you. Let me take you to Grace, all right? And then you don't got to see me no more. Please, I'm begging you. It's what your mum would want.
No means no, William. This isn't the Neverland Ranch.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.